Okay, good evening everyone. This is Santu Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial. Do join quickly. I think I am audible. Am I audible? Please do let me know. And in this YouTube session, I will be covering some important topics, some important key points for the upcoming UGC NET exam. And in the upcoming days, I am hoping to complete this book, Oxford Companion to English Literature. This is day one. I will try to cover one by one. Good evening, Archana. Am I audible, Archana? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm audible. Okay. Thank you for your confirmation. So without wasting your time, let's begin the session. So I'll be discussing some important points. Okay, along with that, every day I'll be trying to focus some points from this book actually. And here, first point is that Aaron's Rod is actually a novel published in 1922. You all know 1922 is a very important point. Aaron's Rod is a picaresque novel published in 1922. Even it was started in 1918, published in 1922. Here the biblical Aaron was the brother of Moses, and whose blossoming rod was a miraculous symbol of authority. So here biblical, there is a reference to Bible, biblical Aaron. That was actually the Aaron was the brother of Moses, and whose blossoming rod was a miraculous symbol of authority. And in the novel Aaron's Rod, who is the protagonist here? It is Aaron Season is the protagonist, who was a amateur flautist, and he forsakes his wife and his job as a in order to play what flute. And he was in the quest, even he was adventurous in adventure in Bohemian upper class society, and his flute is symbolically broken in the penultimate chapter. At the end of the novel, we will find that the flute of this character, that is biblical, that is actually Aaron's season, will break as a result of bomb explosion in Florence during the political riots. And this title refers to the rod of Aaron in the Old Testament Moses, that was Moses' brother, who built the golden calf in the desert of the worship of the Israelites. The rod is actually his divine symbol of authority and independence. Okay, okay. When is the GATE exam? Find its echo in the flood of Aaron's session. Even Aaron Sisson, a union of official in the coal mines of English Midlands, is trapped in a stale marriage. He is also an amateur but talented flautist. At the start of the story, he walks out his wife and two children. He walks out on his wife and two children and decides on impulse to visit Italy. His dream is to become recognized as a professional musician. First week of Feb. Okay, okay. His dream is to become recognized as a professional musician. And even the novel ends with an anarchist or a fascist explosion that destroys Aaron's instrument. This novel was started by Lawrence in 1918 but abandoned the work after its first 11 chapters. This is Aaron's Road. And in 1923, Kangaroo is the novel published by D.H. Lawrence. 1923. Okay, got it. So Aaron the Moor, another important character is Aaron the Moor, is from Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus. Okay, Aaron the Moor is a character from Titus Andronicus from Shakespeare, and here Aaron is Tamora's secret lover, and he fathers a child with her. Hmm. Aaron the Moor is a character from Titus Andronicus by Shakespeare, lover and accomplice of Tamora. Okay, we have another important thing, Abbey Theatre, that was founded by whom? Lady Gregory, Edward Merton and William Butler. It's in 1899 with assistance from George Moore. So it was Lady Gregory, Edward Merton and William Butler. It's founded this work Abbey Theatre in the year 1899, and it was opened actually in 1904. So it was founded in 1899 but it was opened in 1904 uh, with the publication of two one-act play. One is William Butler Yeats on Vale Strand, and a comedy that is spreading the news by Lady Gregory. And here the theatre rapidly became a focus of the Irish revival. So two things that it was first founded by Lady Gregory Edward Merton in 1899, then it was opened on 27 December 1904 with the two publications, that was two one-act play. One is by William Butler Yeats on the Bell Strand, and a comedy Spreading the News by Lady Gregory. This is about Abbey Theatre, and in its early years the theatre was closely associated with the writers of Irish literary revival, and many of whom were involved in its founding, and most of whom had plays staged there. The Abbey served as a nursery for many leading Irish playwrights. One is William Butler Yeats, Lady Gregory, Sean O'Casey, John Millington Synge, as well as some leading actors. So after the First World War, the abbeys, that is abbey theatres, finances became perilous. Although Sean O'Casey's work, Shadow of a Gunman, Juno and the Peacock, and The Plough and the Stars brought some respite. After the First World War, what happened? Abbey's finances became perilous, but the publication of Sean O'Casey's works, Shadow of a Gunman, Juno and the Peacock, good evening, and The Plough and the Stars brought some respite. Abbott is another important, that is number 4 points. Abbott, it's a historical novel by Sir Walter Scott. It's a historical novel by Walter Scott, one of the part of Waverley novels. The Abbott is a part of Waverley novels. So it's a sequel to the Monastery, and its action takes place in 1567 to 1568. Okay, I'll be discussing Fairy Queen. Don't go anywhere. I'll be discussing some key points of Fairy Queen. Okay, don't go anywhere. So this is actually, it is remembered for being the first sequel novel in English. Okay, so the Abbott was the first sequel novel in English, thus influencing the works of Balzac, Anthony Trollope, and many other 19th century novelists. So it is important for it reaches its climax in the escape of Mary, Queen of Scots, from Lochleven Castle, leading to her defeat at the Battle of Langside and her final departure from Scotland. So this novel Abbott is famous for its for the climax in the escape of Mary, Queen of Scots, and it's one of the first sequel novel in English, the Abbott. Okay, here is another important work, The Happy Land. It's a collaboratively written by William W.S. Gilbert and Gilbert Arthur A. Beckett. The Happy Land is a play. Abessa is actually in Spenser Fairy Queen, the daughter of Corsica, slow blindness of heart, and the personification of superstition. In Fairy Queen, we find the character Abessa. Abessa is actually personification of what? Abessa is actually personification of superstition, and the daughter of Corsica, slow. That is meaning it means blindness of heart. So here the Fairy Queen, we find that it's an epic poem by Edmund Spenser. First three books were published in 1590. Remember that. So it has two editions. First books 1 to book 3 were published in 1590, and then republished in 1596 together with from 4 to 6. Okay, first three books are published in 1590, and the second edition came in the year 1596. Three editions were added along with the earlier three parts. So why it is important? It is also the work in which Spenser invented the verse form known as Spenserian stanza. So Spenserian stanza was for the first time used here in Fairy Queen by Spenser. Okay, and what is the important thing, that in Spenser letter to the authors, okay, he states that the entire epic poem is cloudily enwrapped in allegorical device. So it's an allegorical work, full of allegorical work. So here, and the aim of publishing this work, the Fairy Queen, was to fashion a gentleman or noble person in virtuous and gentle discipline. So what was the aim of Spenser Fairy Queen to publish? Here the aim was to fashion a gentleman or noble person in virtuous and gentle discipline. This was the aim of publishing Spenser Fairy Queen, and it was full of allegorical device. So Spenser presented the first three books of the Fairy Queen to Elizabeth I in 1589, and probably sponsored by whom? Walter Raleigh. And for that reason, here Elizabeth became very happy, and she granted Spenser a pension for life amounting £50 a year. So he wrote this work in order to gain court favor. The poem was a clear effort to gain court favor. And Elizabeth was very happy, and she gave she granted a pension for life amounting to £50 a year to Spencer. And here important thing is that it has total book 1, it has total book 6. So book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, and book 5 and book 6. Remember that they are important characters. So in book 1 is centered around whom? Holiness, that is Red Cross Knight. So in book 1 we have the character Red Cross Knight, who is represented as the virtue of holiness. So Red Cross Knight is holiness. What does Red Cross Knight represent? Red Cross Knight represents what? Represents holiness. Book 2, here we have Sir Gawain. Sir Gawain is representing what? Temperance. Okay, on the virtue of temperance. And here book 3 is embodied in Bitomat, Virgin Bitomat. Okay, who is a lady knight, and Virgin Bitomat is representing what? Chastity. Okay, so Red Cross Knight is representing holiness, whereas Sir Gawain is representing temperance, and in book 3 here Virgin Bitomat is representing chastity. Okay, now we have book 4, where there are two, despite its title is named as the Legend of Campbell and Telemont or of Friendship, Campbell's companion in book 4 is actually named as Tramond. So here this is the two friends, it's a friendship, representing friendship. Plot does not center on their friendship. The two men appear only briefly in the story. By the way, the Legend of Campbell and Telemont book 4 is about friendship, and book 5 is actually here Sir Article. Sir Article is representing what? Justice, which full of embodied with justice. Sir Article is embodied with justice, whereas Sir Calidor in book 6 is representing courtesy. So Red Cross Knight holiness, Sir Gawain temperance, Virgin Britomart is representing chastity, whereas the Legend of Campbell and Telemont, the two friends representing friendship, whereas Sir Artigal is representing justice and Sir Calidor is representing courtesy. Okay, these are the six book of Spencer Fairy Queen. For the first time published 1590 in along with 3 books, and in the second edition came in 96. 6 books were there. Here an important line that a letter written by Spencer to Sir Walter Raleigh. So here Spencer has written a letter to Walter Raleigh in 1590, and it contains a preface for the Fairy Queen, in which Spencer describes the allegorical presentation of virtues through Arthurian knights in the mythical fairyland. Got it? So here he is trying to say that that he will write about the virtues of knights. Presented as a preface to the epic most published edition, this letter outlines plans for 24 books. So his plan was to write 24 books. Spencer plan was to write 24 books, 12 based each on a different knight who exemplified one of 12 private virtues. Okay, so 12 about private virtue and 12 tell about public virtue, private virtue and public virtue. He was aiming to write 24 books, but he was not able to write all those. So it's an incomplete work, unfinished work by Spencer. Spencer names Aristotle as its source for these virtues, though the influences of Thomas Aquinas and the tradition of medieval allegory can be observed as well in Fairy Queen. Okay. Now do answer here. Alexander Pope wrote moral epistles as a revenge upon his critics for criticizing his work. The Anunciate, Messiah, Windsor Forest, Rave of the Law. Alexander Pope wrote moral epistles as revenge upon his critics for criticizing Dash work. What would be the right answer here? Any idea? Alexander Pope wrote a moral epistle. It's actually uh, as a revenge upon his critics for criticizing his Danciate. So it's actually A is the right answer. Okay, I'll be ending the session here. Those who are watching, we will continue tomorrow. It was a short video, and in the upcoming days as well, I'll be coming with some key points from Oxford Comparative English Literature. Chalo. Thank you. Good night.